Hello Ridge Runner Nation, we are back and better than ever with a new edition of the Weekly Rundown. This week we're bringing you news from the Western States, Buckeye Trail 50K, 40 yards of gold, and more. We'll also check in with Troy and his progress crossing the AT, in addition to all the fun activities in the world of Strava. Now let's send it over to Wesley for the Paul Bharti streak.
Paul Bharti completed another half marathon distance run this past week, bringing his total to 447 straight weeks. For those that do not know, Paul Bharti has his own Strava club. Oh yes, the club is called Hate the Heat on Strava. Now I have no idea what Hate the Heat on Strava is, but I reached out to Paul Bharti and he says that it's the Miami Heat. What is that, Paul? Oh, it's not the Miami Heat? It's just the summer heat? Oh, my bad. It looks like Paul Bharti hates the summer heat, so if you hate the summer heat as much as Paul does, join his Strava club. We'll put that in the description below. Ah yes, one of the biggest 100-milers in the world took place this past weekend in California. The Western States 100 saw cooler temperatures than normal. It's absolutely to no surprise to anyone that Jim Walmsley took the top spot, shattering his own course record by 20 minutes, finishing in 14 hours, 9 minutes. Second place was Jared Hazen in 14 hours, 26 minutes, and rounding out the top three was Tom Evans in 14 hours, 59 minutes. On the women's side, we saw Claire Gallagher finish with the second fastest time in course history, finishing in 17 hours, 23 minutes. Just 11 minutes back was Brittany Peterson, who should be a familiar name to Ridge Runner Nation. Third place was Casey Lichtig in 17 hours, 55 minutes. Some other notable finishers were Liz Canty of Alabama finishing in 20 hours, 55 minutes, Eliza LaPierre finishing in 23 hours even, Hong Desau was the only Ohio finisher finishing in 27 hours, 31 minutes. Well done to all Western States runners. Who will we see there next year? Well, we'll find out this December.
The Buckeye Trail 50K in Brecksville, Ohio took place over this past weekend. This is a Western Reserve racing event that features a course of 2 out and back sections with almost 3,000 feet of elevation gain. This year, the battle for the top spot on the women's side came down to minutes. Rebecca Prather took the win with a total time of 5 hours, 49 minutes, and 21 seconds. Only 4 minutes behind her was Sunita Shisha in 5 hours and 53 minutes. Rounding out the top three was Trisha Cole in 6 hours and 17 minutes. On the men's side, the battle was not for the top spot, but for the second spot. Lauren Stokes from Nevada took the overall win in 4 hours and 25 minutes, and then second and third place were separated by only 5 seconds. Paul Ryland from North Carolina finished second in 4 hours, 35 minutes, and Mike Ryan was just 5 seconds behind him in third. Two results that caught our eye was the fact that two 18-year-olds finished the 50K. Angela Demchek finished in 7 hours, 50 minutes, and Harley Healy finished in 9 hours and 7 minutes. Awesome work to everyone involved. This race also had a lot of Ridge Runner Nation members, but a few results that we found were the ever-famous George Stimlis finishing the 50K in 5 hours and 40 minutes, and Jessica and Jet Crescent both ran the 50K. Jessica finished in 6 hours 53, and Jet finished in 7 hours 16. Awesome work to everyone that ran this race. And before we get into the next result, we just wanted to let all Ridge Runner Nation members know that if you have something you want to see on the show, tag us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If there's a certain race coming up that you want to see, let us know. We'll keep our eyes out. Our DMs are always open.
What's the fastest way to make $1 million? Well, this can be debated, but if you could do it through running, how would you want to do it? Well, the biggest prize purse this weekend did not come from Western States, but it came from the 40 yards of gold, where the winner took home $1 million. Chad Ochocinco, formerly known as Chad Johnson, helped put together this event where NFL players would race each other for 40 yards. This event featured a bracket of 16 NFL players, 8 defensive and 8 offensive players. The final race came down to Marquise Goodwin, wide receiver from San Francisco 49ers, and Dante Jackson, cornerback from the Carolina Panthers. Marquise Goodwin took the top spot, winning the $1 million. This isn't the first time Marquise has competed in an event like this. He is a former Olympian who competed in the long jump in the London Summer Games. Marquise said, and I quote, "I think it can be one of the biggest speed events in the world if we can get enough people every year," end quote. Next year, they're considering opening up the top sprinters with the likes of Usain Bolt being rumored. There were a few Ridge Runner Nation members that took place in this event. Shout out to Alvin Kamara, running back for the New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara is a big fan of this show, he said on national television, and he said that he's going to make a Strava to log all of his touchdown runs for this upcoming season. So we're excited to see your posts on Strava, Alvin.
The second annual Table Rock Challenge took place in central New York at Clark's Reservation. This is said to be one of the hidden gems of New York, and this race is a last person standing style event. Like other last person standing events, there can be only one winner. This race is held on a 1.2 mile loop course, and runners have to get faster with each loop. For example, loop 1 time cutoff is 22 minutes, the next loop is 21 minutes, and so on. From laps 6 to 15, they take off 30 seconds per lap, and after the 20th lap, they take off 15 seconds. That's just brutal and mean. Beyond that interesting fact about this race, there is another interesting aspect of this race. We've never seen this before on the rundown, and that's every person who ran this race, all 75, were from the state of New York. The battle for the top spot was between a male and female. Fred Harley, now a two-time winner of the event, took the win with 38.4 miles, and the runner-up was Michelle, I'm going to butcher your last name, Masijewski, who ran in 37.2 miles. The distance is lower than I expected, but that must mean that this pace had to get really aggressive at the end of the race. This is an extremely unique race, and great job to all Table Rock Trail Challenge runners. Troy is still currently out on the Appalachian Trail. He is currently in, I believe, Maine, and he just finished up most of Vermont and New Hampshire, but he seems to be going north and then south and then north, and I'm not sure if it wasn't long enough as it was. Good job, Troy. And now on to the Strava rundown. We cover all fun and exciting activities from the world of Strava. If you would like to get recognized on the show, please visit the link in the description and join our club on Strava.
One heartwarming story this week was James Jasperson, who's a junior at Western Washington University who ran 1 mile and 50 pounds of firefighting gear in 6 minutes 33 seconds. James is a volunteer firefighter and did this to raise money for the Four Seasoned Fighters, which is a non-profit group to support firefighters, veterans, and police officers. James does run for WWU and ended up raising $1,300. James said this afterwards, I had a huge crowd out there to support me, and I was like, well, there's no giving in now. Let's get this bread. For the older generation, let's get this bread means let's get money, or time to rise and grind. There's your fun fact for the day. Unbelievable work, James, and congrats on the amazing accomplishment.
And with that, thanks for tuning into this week's rundown from the Ridge Runners. Be sure to check back next week and stay updated on all things trail and ultra east of the Mississippi, except for a few big races like Western States. In addition though, subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell below if you would like to be notified every time we release a new video. And if you enjoy our shows, please hit that like button and give it a share with your friends. Remember, you can also find us in podcast form on Apple iTunes and Google Play. And I'm John Dolovacki.
I'm your host, the better host, Wesley Harden, and we'll see you next week on The Weekly Rundown.